A woman in her late 60s met a man online. They spoke every single day for 7 months. He was kind, attentive. He remembered her birthday. He told her she was beautiful. By the time he asked for money, she was completely in love. She sent him $47,000 across multiple transfers. When the FBI traced the account, there was no man, just a script, a fake profile, and a team of fraudsters who had done it dozens of times before. And she's not an isolated case, not even close. This video is about why older women are being targeted by scammers at a scale most people are not aware of. Not because they are naive, not because they are careless, but because scammers are strategic and they go where access and emotion meet. By the end of this video, you will understand exactly how these scams are constructed, why they work so consistently, and what the people running them are actually looking for before they ever make contact. There's one tactic in particular that most people have never heard of. It is quiet, slow, and it is the reason so many victims do not realize what is happening until it's far too late. Scammers are not random, they are deliberate. They study behavior, they identify patterns, and they go after the people most likely to respond. So when you look at the data and the pattern points consistently towards older women, that is not a coincidence, that is a strategy. Here's what scammers are looking for: access and emotion. Two things that when combined make a person vulnerable to almost any well-structured approach. Older women are often active online, especially to stay connected with families, friends, and communities built around shared interests. That openness, that desire from connection create a natural entry point for a stranger to start a conversation without it feeling unusual or suspicious. Then there is the financial side. Scammers operate on research, and the research tells them that older women are more likely to have accumulated assets, pensions, retirement, savings, properties, investments built over decades of working life. That is not a stereotype, that is a targeting decision based on probability. Assets gets them in the door. The assumption of assets gives them a reason to stay. But the real reason this scam works so consistently has little to do with money in the beginning. It has something to do with something much more powerful. Before a single penny is ever requested, weeks of work has already taken place. This is the part that most people underestimate, and it's the part that makes these scams so devastatingly effective. The scammer does not arrive asking for anything. They arrive offering something: attention, warmth, consistency, daily messages, compliments that feels genuine, questions about your life that makes you feel seen and heard. They remember details, they follow up, they show up every morning and every evening like someone who is genuinely invested in you. Psychologists call this love bombing, a concentrated, deliberate flood of affection designed to create emotional dependency before the target has had any reason to be suspicious. By the time any request arrives, the emotional bond already feels real, and once something feels real, the rational part of the brain starts working in its favor rather than against it. This is not a trick that only works on people who are lonely or desperate. It works on people who are human, and that is everyone, including you that is watching me right now. Here's what most people do not know about the moment the request finally comes. It almost never looks like a request. It looks like something else entirely, something that most of us will feel compelled to respond to because we are human. Once the emotional connection is established, the scammer has two primary tools: emotion and urgency, and they use them in a very specific sequence. The first request is almost always small: a favor, a minor financial need, a situation that feels temporary and reasonable, something that inside a relationship will not feel unusual at all. Helping someone you care about is normal. That is exactly what they are counting on. If the first transfer goes through, the next one is slightly larger, and the one after that larger still. Each request comes wrapped in a story: a medical emergency, a business deal that needs bridging, a flight home that fell through. The details change, but the structure is always the same: urgency, emotion, and a reason why it has to happen now. I mean today, before it's too late. That urgency is deliberate. A person under emotional and time pressure does not think clearly. They react, and the scammer knows that if the target stops to think, stops to ask someone else, stops to verify anything, the whole operation falls apart. So they make sure this doesn't happen. So they keep the pressure on, they keep the emotion high, and they keep asking. But romance is only one version of this. There's another approach that is colder, more calculated, and in some ways even more difficult to spot. Not every scam targeting older women involves a fake romance partner. Some of them wear a completely different disguise. Impersonation scams are among the fastest growing fraud types reported to consumer protection agencies. A phone call from someone claiming to be from the tax authority, an email that appears to come from a bank, a message that looks exactly like it came from a government department, warning of an overdue debt, a frozen account, a legal case that needs to be resolved immediately, or serious consequences will follow. These scams use fear the same way romance scam use love, a different emotion but the same mechanism. Get the target into a heightened emotional state and push for a fast decision before they have time to think. And guess what? They work consistently across every income level and education level. There is also the grandparent scam, a call from someone claiming to be a grandchild in trouble, arrested, hospitalized, stranded abroad, desperate. Please do not tell mom and dad. That is what they will tell you. That is what they always say. Just send the money now and we will sort everything out later. The request for secrecy is not accidental. It is the scammer removing the one thing most likely to stop transfer from happening. The financial loss is devastating, but it's rarely the only loss. Many victims of romance scam describe the aftermath in terms that go far beyond the money. The betrayal of something they felt genuinely real, the shame of having believed it, the difficulty of explaining to family members what happened without feeling judged or dismissed. That shame is something scammers count on. A victim who is too embarrassed to report the fraud is a victim who cannot warn anyone else, and it's a victim who may be targeted again by a different scammer who has identified them as someone who responds. Reported losses to romance scams in the United States alone reached $1.3 billion in a single year. Can you imagine that? $1.3 billion. According to the Federal Trade Commission, and that figure only captures what was actually reported. Experts consistently estimate the true number is significantly higher. $1.3 billion in one country in 1 year from one category of scam. That's crazy. The people behind this operation are not acting alone or improvising. They are running organized professional fraud businesses with script, with teams, with targets selected in advance. And the conversation they start with your mother, your aunt, your grandmother, it has been rehearsed hundreds of times before. This is not about weakness, because it has never been about weakness. These scams worked because they are built around something fundamentally human: the need for connection, the instinct to help someone in distress, the desire to trust people we care about. Scammers do not find a gap in someone's intelligence, they find a gap in their guard, and they fill it with warmth, consistency, and manufactured urgency until the gap closes around them. The women targeted by these operations are not foolish, they are trusting, and trust in the wrong hands is exactly what these people are looking for. When they get it, crazy things happen. Knowing how it works is still the first line of defense, not just for the people being targeted, but for everyone around them, because the conversation that stops the scam really happens after the money is gone. It happens before the first transfer is ever made. If someone came to mind while you were watching this, send this video to them. That one shared could matter more than you think. Drop a comment below. Have you or someone you know come across something like this? I read every single comment, and guess what? I reply to all of them. If you want to understand more about how these fraud operations actually work, then this channel is for you. These are the various things we cover in this channel. Don't forget to like, comment, and share this video. And until we see you again in the next video, I remain Joshua Dejo. Bye for now.